It is Tuesday morning. We're going live on Facebook and YouTube. Waiting for that to kick off. Oh no. Am I on the wrong? I don't know. Might be on the wrong Instagram. I don't think so. I think I'm on the right one. It's got a notification that 110 went live. So, Facebook, we have somebody on Facebook. Who's here on Facebook? Let us know in the chat so we can see who's there. Yeah, it's a Tuesday morning. Obviously, you can see I'm here in the workshop again. I do some ironing. I was explaining that to Autumn, what that does. But yeah, I should tell you. So this piece is right here. See how you see these lines, these grains here. That is called plywood. Different layers of plywood. But when you don't want to see this, you have to put an edge on this. And so I use the iron to glue this on. And then it looks smooth and it looks like a solid piece of wood. Okay, so I see on Facebook, and I don't know why it's showing me this, but it just says, hey, but it doesn't tell me who we are talking to. So with the hey, let me see if I figure this out real quick. It's Christy. All right, Christy. So just wanted to say hi. Okay, so this morning, was looking at just some different things in the devotion I did this morning. It was in Matthew chapter 11. Matthew chapter 11, and what was interesting about Matthew chapter 11, there's a lot of things, but it's talking about John the Baptist. And the verse, specifically Matthew 11:11, is a verse that I have seen many times, and I've been interested in this verse. It's one of the things that I find is I won't say confusing, but it's compelling to study out and to research it. So, hi Sammy, I'm glad you joined also. But we see here in Matthew 11:11, Jesus is talking, and Jesus says this. He says, "Truly, I say to you, among those who are born of women, there has arisen no one greater than John the Baptist." Let me read that to you again. "Truly I say to you, among those born of women, there has arisen no one greater than John the Baptist." And I've always found that statement by Jesus interesting, because Jesus was born of woman. There's a lot of other people born of woman. And the way that he said it is interesting. Those born of woman. And so there's a lot to unpack. And obviously on a 110 at 10, I'm not going to try to unpack everything. But what is crazy is just imagine the Son of God being here on earth. He's preaching, he's teaching to people, and he calls out a person who most people thought he was crazy. Most people thought that there was something wrong, that he needed fixed. He lived out in the wilderness. He ate weird bugs. He dressed weird. He didn't fit to the social norms or the regular norms of what it was to be a person of religion. He didn't fit the Pharisees, the Sadducees, and the other religious leaders at the time. And so they would have thought he needed fixed or adjusted. And they would have thought he was weird. And Jesus, what you get in the beginning of this chapter is that John had sent some people to Jesus and said, hey, are you the right Are you the right one? Are you the one, the way he says it is, are you the one to come, or are we looking for another? And so again, we could throw in some weird, interesting facts here. Is that when John first saw Jesus in the river, he knew who he was, and he said, "I can't baptize you. I'm not even worthy to unlace your shoes." But then now is later asking, "Are you the one to come?" And I think what John's trying to do is not question Jesus. I think he knows who Jesus is. He is asking, is this the fulfillment of all prophecies? Is this the fulfillment of everything? Or is there more to come through all of this? Is there going to be more time? John's in prison. John is getting ready to be martyred for Jesus. And I think he just wanted to know, about how long is this going to take? Or do we got a little bit of more time left? And Jesus is, retells him and says, "Hey, go tell them exactly what you're seeing. The blind are becoming, they're receiving their sight. The lame are walking. People are being healed." Excuse me. I was trying to come and I was trying to stop it. But anyway, so John's telling, he's just trying to figure things out, I think, towards the end of his life, and he knows his life's coming to an end. And so Jesus is telling people, and he looks around, and it's almost like these people come up and like, "Hey, John wants to know this, this, and this," and he stops and he answers their questions. And I can almost imagine he looks around and he could hear them murmuring like, "Oh, that John the Baptist, he's so weird, he's so this and that." And he kind of goes on this like little tirade for a moment of saying like, "No, hold on, you guys don't get this. Like, of people born of woman, so like anybody in this world, there's none greater than John the Baptist. Like, you guys can talk about him all you want, but he is my boy. He's everything. Like, he is extremely special to me, and special to God." He goes on to say that doesn't really matter, like his job and his requirement, because when he gets to heaven, the least of the ones that are surrounding him right now are going to be greater than John the Baptist. And he's kind of talking about what it's going to look like in heaven there a little bit, which is, again, what John is asking about. But what he's telling them right now is, you guys don't understand the importance of John the Baptist. And here's some of the things, and this is what I wanted to challenge you with, is who is John the Baptist? What does he do? Why would he be so important? Well, first off, he's the cousin of Jesus. So he is related to Lord and Savior, which, again, in the grand scheme of things, doesn't matter. When we get to heaven, it's not going to matter where we were born or what family we were a part of. But what we see here is that John had some opportunities to take a lot of credit for himself. John had a lot of opportunities to try to get attention. He was born first. He would have been, his family, his story, when you read out him being born is crazy, where you get, they're quite old and they're having a baby, and then you get, Jesus, and the story is great, and I love it. When Mary, she's pregnant and she goes and sees Elizabeth, and there's a joy in Elizabeth's belly. Like, John knows already, like, Jesus is right here next to me. So it's crazy, but he could have easily taken a lot of credit. John was in a situation in that day and age where they were looking for somebody, and he could have very easily risen himself or put himself on a pedestal and really taken credit where he didn't earn it. Like, he could have. He didn't do that. And that's one of the great things about John the Baptist. He knew what his role was. He knew exactly why he was here on earth. And he was here on earth to make a way for Jesus. He was here on earth to tell others about Jesus. He was not here on earth to make a name for himself, and he knew that. So he didn't care that people made fun of him. He didn't care that he seemed weird. He didn't care that he was on his own. He just wanted to tell people about Jesus and prepare them to meet Jesus. And to me, that is the number one thing that we should be doing in our lives. we should not be so focused on what everyone else thinks about us. We should not be so focused on what other people think about us, making a name for ourselves, making a brand. Like I love watching athletes play, sports and stuff, and it's good to watch. But I'm, you know, I do get slightly frustrated with things in like the professional sports now where you can clearly see that the players are all about their brand. And they'll just come out and tell you, like, I'm about my brand. I'm trying to make my brand. I'm trying to, get my name and everything else. And you can tell it suffers in the game of sports. And so I remember watching sports when I was younger and just loving the team and the camaraderie and the loyalty that you saw between players. And I'm not here to debate, owners and players and all that stuff because there's a lot of stuff, and I think it's all the way through that players and owners don't do the right thing. But it's not where I'm at. I don't want to get distracted. What I do see though is John the Baptist not caring about his brand, not caring about his name. He's not caring about what people are saying about him. What he's caring about is people knowing and seeing Jesus. And so it's amazing. That's the first thing, is that we should not be caring about that. The second thing is that we should be humble. The moment Jesus stepped on the scene, John took a step back. I mean, literally the moment. Like we see that in the river. Everyone's coming. And he's not, like John's not, he's not quiet. This is the word I was trying to find. Like he says it. Like he just comes out and does things. So like when John's teaching, like he's calling the leaders like vipers and snakes, and he's calling them names, and he's just being mean. And I say being mean, but like being mean in the sense that he's not really caring about their feelings. He's telling them truth. And so he's in the middle of all this, and he's got attention. People are watching him. People are listening. He's probably being kind of loud because he's yelling from the river out to the bank. And all of a sudden he sees Jesus and just stops. And he's like, this is the one that I told you about. Like, and I'm done. I'm out. Like, this is it. Like, this is who he is. And I'm not even worthy to tie his shoes. And so the humbleness of John, first off, the ability to, like I said, the ability to take some credit and make it about himself, he didn't. Completely focused on Jesus. And then so humble to be willing to just step away and walk away and not even think twice about it. But to be able to do that is an amazing thing. And so I think, when we look at a passage like this, yes, we can get into it and we could study it out. What does it mean? What is Jesus saying? Jesus was born of woman. Is he saying John better than him? Obviously, we know that's not true. But, how's it go? And then he's saying, what the least of these are going to be greater than these. But here's the important thing. We don't want to get confused. And I think those are all good things to study out. I love studying those things. Is that what Jesus was telling the people around him is that, hey, be like John. Be like John and do what John does. Tell people about me. Tell people about Jesus. Take the back seat. Don't make it about yourself. It's one of his biggest complaints against the Pharisees and the leaders there, where they were making everything about themselves. And he was like, it's not about you. It's about God. Don't make it about you. So be like John. And my challenge this morning is when we see something like this, that we take it to heart and go, I want God to say something like that about me. There is none greater. And not because I want the greatness, is because I want to be able to say, hear Jesus being happy with who I am or what I've done. And so the challenge, again, be like John. Be humble. Make everything about Jesus Christ. Every situation you come across, make it an opportunity to tell people about Jesus. I love you guys. I will see you later tonight, and we'll get some of that information out if you don't have it already. So talk to you later. Bye.